Are you excited? We are back in the regular scheduled programming here at Trade Cave. I am back stateside. Kind of wish I wasn't. I wish I was still on vacation. That was pretty great. I kind of miss it already. But we're ready to get back to making our regular type of content here on the PC versus our iPad. And we're going to first talk about MicroStrategy today. So first of all, I started doing cash secured puts on MicroStrategy. I sold for this week, I did a 123 put on this stock. Why did I do a 123? Well, I'll tell you right now. For one, I came in here, looked at the chain. This is the options chain. I'm all the way up here right now. So it's currently trading around 132. It might, I don't know if that's the exact number right now, but it is at least above 132. You can see from the chain turning color, they're at 132.50. I sold the 123 because at the time when I sold it, it was at about 133 or so. I wanted to give about $10 of wiggle room on it. Actually, it was about 130. I wanted to give it like, $7 to $10 of wiggle room on MicroStrategy because it is very volatile and Bitcoin is in a position that is a little bit precarious and it could come down to that level. All right. So and I didn't want to get executed on right away. So at the point when I sold this, it was about $380, almost $400. I sold this early yesterday morning. And you can see now if you want to get that same kind of premium, you got to go all the way to 128. I am up about $100 on this thing already. So that's pretty great here. It moves fast since I'm just doing week by week. I'm trying to make about $400 a week on MicroStrategy on one option of it. So the reason I did 123 is I came in here and I looked at the chart. And you can see the bottom of this pennant that it's making right now is at 124.49. Okay. That is actually, so I get a little bit of wiggle room just below the pennant. If we go to the options chain here and we look at, see right here, this last column on the right, that is open interest. There is a put wall at 125. Notice how there's a put wall now at 130, but when I entered, it was only 125. So there's a put wall at 130. So I could probably safely go up higher on this, close out for a profit and go up higher to like 127, 128, and still collect another 360 or so right now before the end of the week and still not really get executed on since there is a put wall at 130. Now the big put wall is at 125. And in fact, later today, I might choke this thing up to about 128, 128.50 if it looks favorable near the end of the day. So somewhere around 12:30 my time or so. But the put wall is at 125. So it needs to get through 5,000 contracts of open interest here. So, 5,000 in order to go lower. And I put 123 because if it went lower, it might go to 124, but I really doubt it's going to go past 123 because guess what? The next level for a put wall after that is about 123, where it's got about half as much volume as it does at 125, and then below that at 120. So it's not really going to go any lower than 120. Like 120 is like the lowest it's going to go before starting getting a significant bounce. So that's why I went to 123 on MicroStrategy. I'm pulling in about 400 now. I would like to get it closer, $500 or $600 a week on MicroStrategy. We'll see. This is just the first week, so I wanted to take it a little bit slow, be a little bit easy. But the fact that we've got this pennant forming right here off of that nice pole right there shows that we've got room all the way up. Let me move this out of the way. We got room all the way up to 160 here, right at that mid ATR band. So we've got room all the way up to there as long as Bitcoin cooperates on MicroStrategy. And as soon as I get to 60% profitability, like if that happens today, I'm going to close it out and open up one closer to the money. So if I get all the way up to the top of this pennant, like 142, at any point during the day today, my contract will sell there, or not sell, but close out. It'll close out there. I'll buy it back. And then once I get that alert, I'll go looking at higher strikes. Maybe I'd start looking at like 135 or 131. Something, I'll come in here and I'll look and see where the put wall has moved, and I'll put it like $1 or $2 below that. So it might only be 129, but that would represent, another $200-300 for the week, and it's only Tuesday. So that's kind of what I'm working on here with MicroStrategy. I am managing this a little bit more than you usually want to, but it's week by week. So if I make 60% in 2 days, you better believe I'm going to take it and open up another one as long as things still look bullish. Things looked bearish, like it got below 124.49, I'd probably just sit and hold and see what's going to happen, see where it's going to settle up, and then wait and then go back in a couple of days here once I start getting some structure showing that it's basing or it's falling further. That's what I'm doing with MicroStrategy right now. That's the big thing. So far, I'm up a bit. let me say exactly what I'm up right. Let me look at my account right now. I am currently, it is up $85.83. I opened up this thing yesterday. I'm up 30% in one day on this thing. So if it goes up another 30% today, I'm going to close it out. And then I'm going to evaluate whether or not I want to open up another one higher up for more premium for the same strike, which would be this Friday. And then maybe I'm up again tomorrow and I close it out. Like it really just depends on how much I'm up at any given time. Okay, that's what's going on there. All right, so let's move on to some of the miners. There's so much news while I was gone came out on the miners. Lots of July production reports are out, like pretty much all of them now. We've got quite a few Q2 earnings reports that came out. I'm not going to be able to cover all of those in this video. I'm going to try to catch up on those throughout the week and give my opinions on what came out, what the earnings report was, what the presentation had in it, on a few of our favorites. I'm not going to be able to cover all of them because I am kind of really far behind on them now. So I'm going to do that as quickly as I can, try to clean that up. For now, let's just look at the charts and how they're doing this week. So I've got Bit Digital up already because I was looking at that earlier this morning. So where are we at here? Same sort of thing like MicroStrategy. As long as we're above this white line here, I am seeing us travel between this white line and $3, right? So right now that would be between $2.89 and $3. I'm seeing us travel between that. As soon as we get above $3.04, we're probably going to quickly come up to $3.64. I think that's going to happen pretty fast as soon as we get above $3.04 on Bit Digital, because we are currently near the bottom of the range. And that, that big drop off, then we came up, we're creating a pennant, we're going to move up. That's likely to happen. Have some patience on that one. I think that's what's going to happen. Of course, none of this is financial advice and not a suggestion to buy, sell, or hold any asset whatsoever. The only issue that I'm seeing here is earnings coming up. Now, I don't know if this is the correct date, because the last few dates on TradingView for Bit Digital in terms of their earnings have been off, and their data has been off on a few of the Bitcoin miners in terms of what they report and what they show. I don't know if that's the actual date, but I know it hasn't happened yet. And I know that that's going to be a big hurdle because it's been a problem. Most of the other miners, including CleanSpark, even though they had an amazing call for that one, an earnings call, the report wasn't as good as people wanted, so it still fell a bit off of that. But I do think that we're finding a base here for a lot of these things. Let's take a look at Bitfarms now. Bitfarms, same exact sort of thing, except we need to get above 244 in order to have room up to 259, which is going to be our next level. Like there's a lot of resistance above on Bitfarms right now. Actually, Bitfarms, I think you're going to find a little more frustrating to hold this thing to the upside right now in the short term, because it really needs to get above 259 to have any room up. Like there's just going to be resistance all the way up to 259. Once we clear 259, we could quickly go back up to $3. But until then, it's going to be a fight. It's going to be a fight all the way up to 259. So I'm just keeping my head low and just waiting for this thing to move up for me on that one. We are bearish on RSI. MACD looks like it wants to cross up, but it's crossing up way low, so it's probably not going to be a strong cross up. It might just take us to 244 and then fail. I don't know. We also know RIOT is still buying up Bitfarms, but at a slower pace now. So interesting. We did have a big double top play out here. You can see it. We had a top here, a top here. The midline was at 232. We broke that and we tested it. We broke it to the downside, came back, tested it on August 8th and failed there. So I would not be surprised to fail there one more time or see this as a leg that comes even further down. So don't get too bullish on short-term Bitfarms. I'm not very bullish on that short term. Long term, I'm still bullish on it, but I think in the next 60 days, it's going to be painful. All right, let's take a look. I think a lot of them are going to be painful, honestly, until the Fed cuts rates or maybe even a little bit after the Fed cuts rates. CleanSpark is actually looking pretty interesting right here. I like this area. So we got a bottom. Let me see. We got a double bottom coming through that bottom and another bottom, both below the bottom ATR band. The midline for that bottom here, like the line it has to cross is 265 above. Sorry, 1265. Above 1265, we're going all the way to 1450 pretty quickly. And that's where we'll find our next level of resistance for 1550, which honestly, I think we're going to hit 15 bucks at that point. And then we're going to struggle a little bit at 15, maybe get up to 1581 before we start hitting really intense resistance. There's going to be a ton of resistance between $15 and $18 for CleanSpark. We need to clear $18. That has always been the mark. That's been the mark since April. It still is the mark, $18. It's got to get above $18 to have any room any higher. I think once it clears 18 and holds above 18 consistently for like a week or so, then we are opened up into the high to mid 20s. All right. But right now we're seeing a double bottom form. It needs to get above 1265. As soon as CleanSpark gets above 1265, we're running up to 15 bucks. So watch out for that on CleanSpark. Let's talk about Mara. Mara had a really just terrible day, but it's having a very similar yesterday, but it's having a very similar setup to CleanSpark. We got a double bottom there. The line has got to cross to be go up is 1770. After 1770, it's going up to 1980, $20 very, very quickly, and that is where we will hit our resistance, and we'll have tough resistance between 1980 and about 2275. That's where we're going to have a lot of resistance from Mara, and that's where it's going to struggle again. And once it gets above 2275 and starts closing candles for a couple of days, that's where I start looking at it to move back up into the 30s and higher on Mara. All right, Riot's been just garbage lately. Similar setup to Mara and CleanSpark, a little weaker looking though. There's a lot more candles coming all the way to the bottom of the range here on this. But if it can get above 861, if Riot can get above 861, it's open all the way up to 1050. Right, 1050, it will hit some resistance at 910, but Riot, I think, has a harder move ahead of it. It's got a lot of really big growth plans, but it's been executing them quite poorly. It's not been a favorite stock of the retail lately, and that's kind of a bummer. There's also a lot of news I want to talk about in terms of institutional buying in July. That information came out in the last couple of days as well. There's some fun and surprising facts in there that I'm going to talk about later in the week. This video today is just the first one back. I'm trying to wrap up some things and some ideas and some thoughts as quickly as I can, and then I'll start drilling into more in-depth stuff here throughout the week. So it's this is more like a recap of this is setting the base for the return to regularly scheduled programming. Let's take a look at IREN. How's IREN doing? IREN is okay. So IREN, this is a little bit of an interesting pattern. Now we got above this trend line here, which honestly, I think I probably need to move it. Actually, I probably need to move that goalpost a little bit to something more like that. That feels more appropriate. Yeah, we haven't quite done it yet because we got this little bump up here on July 30th. This is my first day traveling, and then we stayed there for 2 days, and then that was a fake out breakout. So I am looking at it to break that area now, that trend line now, which we're coming up on. But the issue I'm seeing here with IREN right now is this formation down here. This does not look like a bullish pennant. So on Bit Digital and Bit Farms, it looked more like a bullish pennant, but this one's forming way down near the bottom of this bullish candle here from August 5th, which could, and it is going up, right? Got up, and it's not really even flat. It's kind of forming something like that, like a pennant here below the top of that range there. It's also below the, that flat, the area that looks kind of flat is also below the body of some of these bearish candles. Don't like that. That is appearing to be weakness to me. I do think that IREN could potentially come back down to about 655, form something of a double bottom, and then come up. And it's going to have to get above 861 for me to be real bullish on that again and go on up. Now, I have been buying. I've bought hundreds of shares of IREN down here. I'm looking at trying to build that up to about 1,000 if I can get the money to do so. It is above the signal line on the RSI. That's good. The MACD is printing white bars and is closing up on it. That is also good. If we can get up and above 832, which would be back above the midline of the center Fibonacci band there, we will open up to 991 again. Above 991, we open up to 1222 again. Okay. Above 1222, we open up to all-time high, not all-time highs, but cycle highs around $15 again. I do think IREN can pretty easily do that. Now, this is very controlled selling. All of this right here, very controlled selling. It's very controlled. This is institutional selling. That's what that looks like. Once this is done, once this is over, you better believe this thing is going to fly out of here like a phoenix from the ashes. Just watch. We're going to base somewhere between 7 and 650. We're going to base for a bit. And it might go through September. It might even go till mid-October. So you're going to want to have some patience on this thing. It might look similar to this consolidation back here, which went from March 18th all the way to May 15th. So March, April, May, that's like 3 months almost. And if you look right here from February until March, you'll see a similar selling pattern to what we're seeing right now. Or also right here from December 2023 all the way until about January, so about 2 months here, a very similar selling pattern. That this one in December came out monstrously, and then this one in March went flat for a bit before turning into a monster move. We also saw that exact same type of selling pattern back here, July 2023, all the way until October, right? All the way until October, and it went flat until, honestly, it went flat until mid-November. So all the way from July until November, and then from November until late December, it was a rocket. We are seeing that similar sort of pattern play out right now on IREN. So have patience here. I mean, we're seeing it play out on all of them. It's playing out on all of them. This is the time to have patience. Stack if you have the money to stack. Hold if you don't have money to stack anymore. If you are still in profit and you're impatient and can't just wait, or you need that money for something else, if you're in profit, I mean, honestly, selling to move on to something else if you are in profit, not the worst idea, because we probably will see a few months of consolidation. So if you can get back, if you're thinking, oh, I could come back, second week of October and get in at about the same price, why not move it to something else for a little while? That's also an idea that you can toy with. Now, you do risk missing the upside if you do that and getting back into major profits like you used to be. Like I was in almost over 100% on a good amount of them. Right now, I'm still at about 30% on most of them, some of them like 10%. I have been moving some money out of a few plays in order to have money to play MicroStrategy and do those sorts of experiments I want to do with things. Right now, because I'm still in profit, I can do that like without really worrying about it. Like, shucks, I missed some profit, but it's not the end of the world on some of those things. IREN, I am stacking. CleanSpark, I am stacking. MicroStrategy, I am playing those puts. I'm also playing puts on NVIDIA, which is pretty interesting. And then I'm selling covered calls on Palantir as well. I've been doing that. Like I've been doing a flurry of things since this thing crashed, because this was a huge opportunity. It was great. Okay, let's take a look at CORZ real quick. CORZ is actually looking really good still. It came back down to that my exact level right here. That 831, tapped it, went back up. We might get back below it. We might come to like 747 on this, but honestly, now it does look like there's like a bit of a head and shoulder. So we got a shoulder, a head, maybe another shoulder here. We get below 831. Yeah, we could find ourselves coming back and testing these lows down here on Core Scientific. But Core Scientific has been holding up better than the other miners right now. So that's been really interesting and fun to see and fun to look at for that right there. So CORZ, I still think is showing some strength. I don't think it's going to go much lower than 747 before finding its way back up to around $10 or so. We are creating a bit of a base at the upper end of the range for CORZ, and that's pretty nice to see. There's also some really cool information about CORZ that I'm going to talk about later in the week that we're going to look at. Let's take a look at WULF. How's WULF doing? WULF, similar thing that IREN. It had this very institutional sell-off. It's been basing a little more so than IREN. As soon as we get back above 383, WULF's going to take off to about $5. Watch that. Watch it for that. Watch it for that. I think we're going to base between about, for a little while, I think we're going to base between about 282 and 381. So for a $1 range, we're going to base for a little while, maybe up to 2 months, maybe a little longer. And then as soon as we get above 383 and we start closing candles above that consistently, I think we're going to see a bit of a gap up like we saw back here in June 11th to 12th. And from there, it's going to take off all the way back to the top of the range. So WULF, again, I like where WULF is. I'm very interested in WULF where it currently is. I don't have money to be adding to more and more positions right now because I'm not, I don't have unlimited money. But I am watching WULF. I do think WULF is quite interesting where it is. Hut is the same sort of scenario, right? Except Hut, it's sloping off a little harder. So I do think Hut could probably find itself back at about $9 for a little while, maybe for a day or two. But same sort of thing. I think we'll be basing between about $12.74 and $9, or like $9.50, $9.60. So about 12, what would I say? $12.78 to about $9.50. I'll see us basing on Hut for a little while. As soon as we consistently close above that 1280 zone, let me bring this back. As soon as we're consistently closing above that 12, that's a 74, about 1280, 1290. Okay, I'm not super accurate with this right now. As soon as we're back above this red line consistently, we are very quickly going to find ourselves back up into the mid-teens, maybe even to the low 20s. All right, so that's what we're looking at for Hut. So all of them right now, that's most of them. I might be missing one. We'll see. Anyways, that's all I've got for you today. Is it? Yeah, that's all I've got for you today. Please like, comment, subscribe, check out the Trade Cave store, link in the description, and have a profitable day.